Hello, hello. This is Sheri from the Sheri Kaye Hoff Show, where we focus on living joyfully in your life and business. You can reach us at sherikhoff.com. That's SherikayehOff.com.
A huge welcome to everyone on my list and my tribe and my community. Thank you so much for being here. And also a big welcome to everyone listening on the Living Joyfully podcast. So technology is wonderful. I'm so happy that we can bring everybody together for our bucket list masterclass. So for those of you who are listening live on Instant Teleseminar, you can go ahead and type in questions or comments. Hi, Kathy. Hello to you. Thank you for saying hello. I so appreciate you. And get ready to have some fun. Get ready to be inspired. Get ready to have some fun. And my goal for all of you is to leave this podcast class, whatever we're doing here today, with some inspiration, some motivation, and feeling like, life is just fantastic, right? That excitement and that passion. So this is the Bucket List Masterclass. And I decided to do this class because, yes, we all know what a bucket list is pretty much. It's that, all the amazing things that you want to do before you kick the bucket. That's how it originally came about. But the bucket list, is that list of things that you want to do before, you end your life or before you get to, whatever, I guess. And so, if you've ever sat down and tried to do this, maybe at one point in your life, you easily got, 100 things written down. Another time in your life, maybe 10 things, and maybe you wrote things down and you never ever looked at it again, or you kind of thought, what's the point? And so I want you to look at this exercise as kind of a fluid exercise that you can change as you grow and change, but also a way to think a little bigger, a way to expand your life by looking more at possibilities and thinking things like, what if I could do this? Or wouldn't it be great? Or wouldn't it be cool if I did this, really amazing thing? And I'm also going to give you a few other ways of looking at a bucket list, because I know we have a lot of pragmatic, practical people out there who don't want to have things on there like skydiving. And so we're going to talk about all the ways that you can, maybe not all the ways, but a lot of ways that you can use a bucket list to enhance your planning that you're doing, enhance your vision boarding, enhance the vision that you're creating for your future, and enhance even your everyday happiness and your overall goals and accomplishments in life. So I do have, we'll get to that in a minute, but I do have some worksheets. So you can find me on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, in addition to my website, sherikhoff.com. That's SherikayehOff.com. So if you are listening on Instant Teleseminar or the on-demand version of Instant Teleseminar, you can type in questions. However, if you're not listening in one of those ways, you can always type questions to me, send me questions over email, Sheri@sherikhoff.com, or you can message me on Facebook off my Facebook page. There's lots of ways to get in touch with me, and I'm always happy to answer questions or respond to comments. So, okay, I do have 3 worksheets for this masterclass. And so the worksheets are available in a couple different places. They're available in the Facebook group. And the Facebook group is Your Path to Success. It's my free Facebook group, and you'll find them. There's a file that has 3 Dropbox links on it. So you can check it out there. If you, again, on Instant Teleseminar, there's a worksheet tab and some call link tabs that you can click on. And then For my podcast listeners, you can go to SheriKayHoff.com/bucket-list. So it's SheriKayHoff.com/bucket-list. So I want to make sure that you can get those worksheets. So I purposely put them in several different places, so no matter how you're listening to this, you can find those worksheets. All right, so why a bucket list? So we weren't born on this planet to just work and pay bills, but it feels like it sometimes. So a bucket list helps us really look at the joy of life, that zest of life feeling, that kind of why are we really here? You can also look at a bucket list as a list of fun, exciting, meaningful, and adventurous things that you can turn to when you're doing planning. So if you've created your bucket list, then if you have a weekend to open up and you go, oh, what should I do? You don't have to spend a day not being able to figure out what you want to do because you have a whole list of things that you've created to do. Or when you're doing your annual planning or your 90-day planning and you think, my mind's blank, I don't know what to write down here, you can go to your bucket list and pull some things out, okay? Also, a bucket list gives you the opportunity to keep track of what you really want to do, okay? Not that all the stuff that you have to do, but what you really want to do. And it also provides a record of memorable moments. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. So it's not just, it can be a list that you just check off, but there's an enhanced way to do this that really adds some magic into it. I'm just going to check the Q&A box here, see how we're doing. Mary, hello. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so how is a bucket list different from intentions? All right, so I think of, like if I'm setting an intention, I might say, okay, my intention for this group is that everybody leave with an inspiring idea that they're going to act on in the next day or two, okay? To me, that's an intention, or I might have an intention that I'm going to wake up and be in gratitude. But a bucket list could have, anything on it from, I'm going to climb Mount Everest to, my goal is to skydive, or my goal is to, scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef, or, my bucket list is to visit all 50 states, or my bucket list is to, swim in 7 different lakes in one day. So, and it can be something like, you can have on your bucket list, be in gratitude every day. And we're going to talk about different ways to do that. So, I don't know really if they're so different, but that's the way that I think, in terms of a bucket list and intention. And I think that there's also something, it may not be for everybody, but when I think of bucket list, some people look at a bucket list as it's only all the exotic places I want to travel to or all the stuff I want to buy. But I think of a bucket list as kind of like a real fun energy. So sometimes when we think of intention, we can get weighted down with sort of the responsibility of it, and the idea of bucket list is like a little bit lighter and fun, even though we might have some really deep intentional things in it. So, and another reason why I wanted to do a little training here on a bucket list is when I've talked to clients and they've said, oh yeah, I did a bucket list 20 years ago, I never looked at it again, or I can't get past 10 things, or what's the point? I'm just focused on all the things that, I feel like I have to do in my life, and a bucket list just seems frivolous. So it can be, it can just be a list of maybe a whole bunch of just wild, crazy, fun things and not a whole lot of meaningful, but you can really make it meaningful and make it a deep part of your deep work on, that you might be doing through your journaling process. So hopefully that helps. And I think, during this time in the world when we've had, a global health crisis, and I don't know about you, but I stay pretty positive. That's kind of how I am. But I have times when I'm in the grocery store and everyone's in a mask and everyone looks tired, and I feel like the fatigue of, is this the life we have? I mean, are we going to be masks forever kind of thing? And I was saying to someone the other day, I miss hugging. I miss standing close to somebody when you're talking to them. And so when I was working on my own bucket list, it just opened up the dreaming big kind of feeling of life. And when we feel so much pressure from life and, from really serious, heavy, weighty things, whether it's politics or, a global pandemic or, whatever it is, and we feel that pressure pushing down on us, sometimes we forget to dream, and we forget that fun is just as important as serious, weighty things, right? So that's why I felt like this could be something really valuable for you to help you navigate through the next few months or the next year. So here are some keys to creating a meaningful and inspiring bucket list. So it helps if you think about the areas of your life. So, and these are not all areas of life. They're just some I put down that are interesting to me and have been interesting to a lot of people I've worked with. But you could have a totally different category. But, travel, work, business, family, hobbies, finances, charity, learning, achievement, conquering fears, character, self-development, habits, spirituality. So when you think about different areas of your life, gosh, what do we have, 10 or more categories here? It would be pretty easy to put down 10 things under each category. And so that helps. And a lot of times we don't think maybe practicing a morning ritual is a bucket list item, especially when you think of someone who's never, ever done that. So maybe that's a bucket list item. So you want to start thinking about the different categories that you want to have on your bucket list. And then this was a surprising thing. Reviewing what you've already accomplished. As I was researching different people's bucket lists and different people's ideas on bucket lists, and, you can actually Google it, 500 things to put on your bucket list, and people have done the work of coming up with 500 amazingly creative things all categorized. And there's lots of articles like that. But as I was reading them, I was thinking, oh, I've done that. I've done that. And I've also done this, this, and this. So before I actually created my bucket list, I did a list of all the really cool things that I've ever done. I maybe didn't think of everyone, but the highlight things. When I was in Europe, every single old church I saw, I went inside and said a prayer. That was pretty cool. There's a lot of churches in Europe. And, I wrote down all the places I traveled, all the, good habits that became deeply ingrained. I did write down my morning ritual, my gratitude practice, the different things, that I've just made part of my journaling practice. A lot of people are still working on creating that or haven't even thought of adopting that. So I wrote a list, and it was actually several hundred things long, this list was. And yours could be 20, or you don't even have to do this list. But it helped get me going because I thought, wow, I've actually really done a lot. So I felt incredibly thankful for my whole life, looking back over the years and also looking at some of the items and realizing that there were points in my life where I couldn't even imagine doing the thing that I've already done now. Okay, so there's value in doing that review. The next thing is to do a values inventory. And, I debated on whether I should put a values inventory slide up here on the presentation, but in the interest of time, I just want to tell you that there are a ton of value inventory quizzes you can take online, articles about values and core values and what's important to you. So if you haven't thought about it in a while, sometimes it's surprising to realize, what it is that you really value. But most of us can sit down and think about our values and, like I do have a high value on travel and new experiences. I value family. I value education. I value learning. I value, friendships. All kinds of things that are important to me. And when you do a values inventory, and again, this is a work in progress, so you might have, and they might change in order at some times in your life. But if you line your bucket list up with your values, first of all, you're going to be more likely to do it, and you're going to be more excited about it. So years ago, I put down, I wanted to climb Mount Everest, and I wanted to be a black belt in karate. And then I realized that I'm really not interested in climbing Mount Everest. The only cool thing to me would be to say I did it, and that's like a lot of work to do for just that feeling. So I took that off my list. And the same with black belt in karate. I took my first karate class and I got my first or second belt, and I hated hurting people. Like I couldn't stand striking people. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to become a black belt because I don't want to hit anybody. And you can't just do the whole thing defensively. So making sure that your values line up with bucket list items. And then another really good question is to ask yourself, what do you want your list to do for you? So what do you want it to do for you? Okay, I've got lots of comments here. I've got happy birthday from Bonnie and happy anniversary. Yes, it's my birthday today and my wedding anniversary. Yeah, I was dumb. I got married on my birthday. I don't recommend that, but I always tell my husband he owes me 2 presents. So, but it's been actually super fun over the years, but everyone usually says, why did you get married on your birthday? You want to spread out those holidays. Kathy's saying, yes, the anxiety everywhere is tugging everyone down a rabbit hole. Yeah, so that's so interesting that you say that, Kathy, because I sometimes struggle where I feel like in my newsletter, in my mailings that go out, and in my speaking, I feel like, should I be talking more about the pandemic? And, so I wrestle back and forth with, I also feel like people need relief from it. Like we need relief from constantly thinking about it. And also, there are people who are really struggling emotionally, and I feel for people who are really struggling emotionally through this, it's been a lot. It's been an ordeal. But it's also an incredible opportunity for what's called post-traumatic growth. And so I decided in about maybe April of this whole thing that I was going to come out of this as bright and shiny as possible, that I wasn't going to get beaten down by, the overwhelming pressure that something like this has been on the world, and that I was going to carve out my area of joy and happiness and accomplishment, and no matter what that accomplishment is, in the moment. Like I was talking to someone today and I asked what they were doing for fun because they were in lockdown right now. And then it made me remember that one of my things I did for fun is I totally reorganized my closet, including swapping out my hangers for velvet hangers, following the advice of the home edit thing on Instagram. And, never in a million years would I think that would have been a joyful activity, but when else was I going to have time? So I did a lot of things like that. And the feeling of accomplishment really was joyful. So, and I just want to challenge everyone not to buy into, yes, acknowledge your feelings, notice how you're feeling, but then ask, how would I rather be feeling, or what would I rather be thinking about right now? And just try not to spend too much time in that place. And, there's reinforcement everywhere to talk about, pardon the French, but just how shitty things are. So if you're the one who can see the gold, that's a rare thing. And you need to do that for yourself, for sure. All right, next slide. All right, so the tools that you need, a numbered list broken down into areas of your life if you decide, a journal or worksheets, a journal cover. A journal cover I like because it keeps everything in one place, like if you're tucking in little notes. So I had a really hard time finding a journal cover recently. So what I did is I ended up buying like a zippered Bible cover, and that worked perfectly. So I do have a worksheet. One of the worksheets is a bucket list worksheet where you can actually start writing the items. And because I'm a logical thinking person in a lot of ways, the bucket list sheet has, like lots of columns, and, like it's got a column for category, a column for goal date, a column to check when you completed it, and even a column to prioritize, because when you're brainstorming your bucket list items, you're not always going to write them in the order that you want to do them, right? You get an idea and you write it down, and then maybe your 99th idea is the one that you want to do first. And then it helps to categorize it too, so that yes, this is something for, this is something for my business. Okay. So you can use the worksheets. So what I did with the worksheets is, one is a checklist, and that just, tells you kind of the things that we're doing right now. Just check, check, check. It talks about the values, checking your values and all of that. So it'll help you stay mentally organized. Then the next worksheet is actually 5 pages of 20-something item space to write in, to actually write out your bucket list. And then the final sheet is, there are 2 pages you can use as journal pages, and you can just use them as a template for your own journal that you have, or if you actually want to print out the sheets, you can do that too. So, all right, so mapping it out, and I couldn't find a cool map that I liked, and I thought, if you're sailing, you better have a plan for where you're going, especially if it's a long trip. So I kind of liked this as sort of charting the waters voyage for you. So the first thing is the list, to come up with a list. And your list could be 20, it could be 100, it could be 500. But often when people think of a bucket list, they think of 100. And then once you've actually written down everything, you want to put a goal date in there, because psychologically, when you put a goal date in there, you're bringing that closer to you. So let's say you have a bunch of travel, like I do, I think at least 15 of my 100 items are places to go to. And I could, but I'm not really planning on doing all 15 locations in 1 year. So it helps to put a date, like, maybe I'll do these 3, in 2022, and, I'll group these over here together and do them the next year. And even if you end up doing something sooner or later, you're actually putting a date down. And then another important thing is to put the actual date down that you achieved something. And also in this list, you want to have some things that are doable, like so here's a small thing. For a long time, I didn't wear watches. Like, I grew up wearing a watch all the time, and then cell phones came in, and it was kind of like, what do I need a watch? Why do I need a watch? And so lately I've wanted like a nice designer watch. And so that's on my bucket list. It wasn't on it last year. I just all of a sudden started thinking, yeah, I'd like a nice watch. And I usually am buying the nice watches for my husband because he always wears a watch. But, so I set a target date for that for the end of March of this year because I'm pretty sure I can find one that I like by then. So that's something close, right? And not something that's going to be a big deal. I could, if I wanted to today, I could go out and get it. I don't know which one I want, but it's not something like, I'm not going to go to Fiji today because there's still travel restrictions, right? So you want to have some things that can be accomplished sooner, and then maybe some things that are bigger goals that are kind of way out there. Now, here's the interesting thing, and this is what I think is going to be different maybe than what you've done before. Once you create the list, you can go back and you could have an entire journal and call it your bucket list journal. And they even sell bucket list journals. So you could go buy one. I don't know if it'll be exactly organized the way that I'm laying this out here, but there might be a journal that you're like, yes, this is perfect. But you want to have a page where you write down what inspired you to pick it. So you're actually thinking, why do I want to go to Fiji? When did I first think about going there? Why is it meaningful? So it's the backstory. What made you pick it? And sometimes the backstory might be simple, like, oh, I think it'd be cool to wear a nice watch again. So each backstory doesn't have to be something life-shattering or earth-shattering. Okay, why do you want it? What will it feel like to do it? Now, this is a part of the exercise that is kind of the law of attraction manifesting part, because when you start thinking about what something would feel like, you move yourself closer to doing it. And then when you actually do your bucket list item, you want to journal about it. So instead of just experiencing it, like really internalize it, lock it in, and synthesize it and appreciate it. Because not usually, but a lot of the time we're, okay, on to the next thing. Yeah, I did it, on to the next thing. What that would look like in a journal is, let's say you have 100 bucket list items and you have a journal with 200 pages. So on one page, you're going to have item number 1, and you're going to have the goal date, what inspired you to choose it, why you want it, what it'll feel like. And then on the next page, you're going to have the actual date you do it and what happened when you did it. Just write a little bit about. So can you see what a legacy that is? I mean, can you picture grandchildren or your children reading through that and going, this is the coolest thing ever? So I did create journal pages that you can actually print out if you want to use like a 3-ring binder, because they're big. They're for people who want to like write big. I write big. And then you can just 3-hole punch the pages and put them in. Now, I also want to say that my list on the worksheet that I gave you, the place to write down your bucket list, is again very logical, businessy looking. If you want, you can look on, like Etsy, or you can just Google 100 bucket list, and you'll come up with all these templates. And like I was looking at one you could buy from an Etsy store for like $1.50. You could make your own too. Making lined things on Canva, unless you have a template already, is a pretty long, involved process. So if you want to create your own on Canva, I recommend using a VA, a virtual assistant, to do that. But anyways, you want to map it out. All right, so I included a bunch of examples here to get you guys going, because the biggest thing that I hear is people saying, I don't even know what to put on here, and they get stuck. So the first one I put down is travel, and I'm sure Susie is loving this. Susie is a luxury travel concierge. She plans luxury travel for people, and she also specializes in low country travel in the United States. So anyway, so for travel, you could list countries that you want to go to. You could list big cities, like, maybe you want to do the global cities, like when I was thinking about this, New York, Paris, London, Tokyo, I feel like I'm missing one big one. Anyway, I've been to New York, Paris, London, haven't been to Tokyo. So I put that on my bucket list because I thought, that's something that I think would be really cool. So you could have that kind of travel idea. You could pick islands, specific destinations, like within a city, like maybe there's a museum you want to go to, like the Louvre. Maybe you want to go to the Colosseum in Rome. You might have specific activities like kayak in the ocean, scuba dive in the Great Barrier Reef. I put jet ski in the ocean for driving my own jet ski. Okay, so that is different than riding on the back of someone else's jet ski. So I want to drive a jet ski in the ocean. There's actually a jet ski tour I want to take in the Bahamas. So I even have that even more specific and drilled down. Visit all 50 states. You could have something like in Colorado. People have on their bucket list, hike all the 14ers in Colorado, or hike 50 14ers. That's, mountain peaks that are higher than 14,000. Sometimes people put, run the Boston Marathon. So this is giving you some ideas for the travel category. Examples for work. So sometimes with a bucket list, we forget to put work things down, but you could write down, a promotion, and maybe it's the next promotion that you're looking for, or maybe it's, 5 promotions down the road from now. Maybe it's your ambition to be the CEO of a major corporation, or, whatever it is. Retirement. Have you thought about when you want to retire? Maybe a bucket list thing is to change industries. Maybe your bucket list item is to speak at an event that's work related. And again, this is only 4 things, but, the list could go on and on, but giving you some ideas there. Examples for business: grow your business to beyond 6 figures, publish a book, or if you've published a book already, publish books. Start a business if you've never ran a business, or maybe you started one and you want to start another one. Hire staff, or hire outsourcing or independent contractors, other people who have their own businesses. Expand your product offerings. Hold an event. Examples for finances. So again, this is something a lot of people maybe wouldn't put on their bucket list, but this could definitely be a bucket list item. And you think about how exhilarating some of these things could be. Pay off credit card debt, buy a home, pay off a home, save for retirement, pay off student loan debt, learn the stock market and invest. That's a shout out to Bonnie here. She's the stock market guru in the group. I'm sure there might be other people, but that's her thing that she's always on social media for, and her business. Save X amount of money, buy a car with cash, buy a second home. There's lots of things that you could put in there. It could be have a perfect credit score. Okay, another category, learning and achievement. So again, this is something that people don't always think of as part of a bucket list. It's not saying taking a trip to Bali. It's take a course. You could do Udemy, or anything online. Finish a degree. Get certified in something. Finish a higher degree. Win an award. Again, just some examples here. Health and family. Maybe you want to have regular family dinners. Sunday night dinner was a big thing for us for a long time. Phone calls to distant family. Maybe you want to, your goal is, once a week you're going to call your family that live far away. I mean, it sounds funny because we're on social media. There's a big difference. Like my parents live far away from me. And there's a big difference between keeping up on Facebook and actually having a phone call, like a 30-minute phone call where you can actually talk about deep things. Plan a family reunion. Example of health, annual physicals, annual dental appointments, fitness habits. That can be a bucket list item. Maybe you've never been a runner and you want to start running. Maybe you've never been a dancer and you want to start dancing. Eat vegetarian for a month. Plan a family vacation. And this, like if you had kids and you've done a lot of family vacations, you might think, how is that a bucket list thing? But what about when your kids are all grown and you get everybody agreeing to all go on vacation together? I mean, could be a wonderful bucket list thing. And my aunt does that every year with her kids and their spouses and her grandkids. They go to Florida for a week every year all together. And that's a pretty cool thing. Okay, so here's some examples of conquering fears, character, self-development, not conquering character, but conquering fears, and then character building things, self-development, and habits. So zip lining over the Grand Canyon, that's actually on my list. I haven't done it yet. I've had been close to the opportunity to do it. I've been to the Grand Canyon. I've been to Vegas multiple times. I just haven't pulled the trigger to actually do it, and I'm scared. So it's a conquering fear thing. I mean, I'm not scared that I'll die. I'm scared. I'm just scared. But there is a rush in doing something you're afraid of. Maybe you want to start a meditating habit, a gratitude habit, become a better listener, develop a morning ritual or change your morning ritual, develop an evening ritual habit. So again, these are just ideas to get you started, right? Examples under hobbies, charity, spirituality. Learn how to ballroom dance, practice yoga, or learn a new technique, or you learn a new method of yoga. Give X amount to a favorite charity. Maybe you always give a certain charity $100 and you want to up it to $1,000. Find a new charity that lines up with your values. Like you might be in the habit of you always give to a certain 1, 2, 3, or 4 charities. Maybe there's another one out there that is doing good work that you really line up with and you want to add that. Take a spiritual journey to a holy place. Go to Sedona, go to Jerusalem, go to, any place that, a river could be a holy place. It doesn't have to be something with like a name, but again, just giving you some ideas. All right. Also, and this is usually what people think of when they think of bucket list, the fun stuff. Don't be afraid to have the fun stuff on there. So 5-star experiences, splurge on a special item, try different foods, fly first class, hire a driver, fly in a private jet. So don't fly by yourself, though. Fly in a group so that we're not, doing a big, giant carbon footprint. All right. So the splurging on a special item, I had Christian Louboutin shoes on my bucket list for a long time because I heard a speaker talk about how she bought Louboutin pumps to be her prosperity shoes at her workshops. I thought, well, that sounds pretty cool. But when you have 6 kids like I do, 3 together with my husband and 3 stepchildren, spending $600 on shoes just wasn't, I couldn't quite bring myself there. And then a couple years ago, I actually ordered a pair and then they were out of stock. And I thought, that must mean it's just not my time. And so I just, for my birthday this year, bought myself a pair of Louboutin shoes. And it was an incredible feeling because not even for the shoes or even the money, but it was the symbol of what it was. So, I mean, whatever your special item is, and again, it has to mean something to you. Like maybe you don't care at all about shoes. And I actually really, I'm not like the type of person to have like 50 pairs of designer shoes because I don't care so much about them. I like to have shoes that fit me well and last a long time and look good. So, all right. Okay. Just seeing how we're doing on here. Okay, I'm going to check the Q&A box. So really this call is meant for fun for you and a way to spark your excitement and your passion for your life and get your manifesting mojo going. So again, we miss the fun, right? We miss that idea of anything's possible, or I can dream of anything that I really want to dream of. So Kathy is saying, I love your review idea. I forgot I actually went up in a hot air balloon, that I had wanted to do it for years, and I just remembered that thinking in review. Right, and it's an incredible key to happiness. It's called the reverse gap, where you actually look at how far you've come and you appreciate it. Because, our bucket list is in the future, even if it's tomorrow or a month from now. So having that appreciation for how far you've come and what you've done already and what you've learned already brings that, just gorgeous feeling of happiness right now. And then you can use that to propel you forward to completing your bucket list. So it is, for people who are on Instant Teleseminar, it's *2 to make comments, or raise your hand to talk if you'd like to, or you can ask a question as well, or you can type in the Q&A box. So most of the time, for my people who know me, they know that people who are in my paid groups, and I think a lot of the people in my free group know this too, is that I like to do tapping to help lock things in. And I also like to do some energy work too. So let's finish up our call here with some tapping. And what I'd love to see for people who are live, to let me know what is in the way for you right now. And you can actually talk if you want to. And also in the Q&A box, I'd love to hear what some of you have added to your bucket list. An interesting thing I was thinking about, a client that I had who, she and her boyfriend would, on their vacation always was a charitable vacation. They would go somewhere in the world and work for a charity. And that was, part of their bucket list of giving back and, feeling like they were seeing cool places, but they also were doing something. So again, your bucket list is as unique as you are and can be, uplifting. It can be full of just like a mix of, fun, luxury things and things that are just incredibly deep and meaningful. I'm just going to check here. Okay, so I'm not having anybody type like any blocks that they're feeling. So what I'm going to tap on here, and this is emotional freedom technique that I practice, what's called modified tapping, is that this is what happens sometimes. You start doing a bucket list, and then you have that feeling of, well, crap, I can't do any of that. I don't have money. I have debt. And then it starts producing anxiety. So let's lift that before it even sets in for you, or if it's already set in where you're excited, but then you're feeling kind of like fear, or just that feeling of it's not possible, it's not really going to happen. So let's see. Okay, so we do a turnaround statement. I just was kind of tuning into the group to see what kind of feelings are going around here. So the turnaround statement, you're tapping on the side of your hand, so it's called the karate chop point. If you've never tapped, don't worry about doing it wrong. Just tapping on the side of your hand. And we're going to do all the other tapping on your collarbones, so you're not touching your face because of COVID. You can touch your face if you know all the tapping points and you disinfect your hands first, but we'll keep it really simple, and all the other tapping will just be on your collarbone. And again, you're not pounding hard, you're just lightly tapping. But the turnaround statement's on the side of the hand. Even though I feel overwhelmed by the idea of a bucket list, I love and accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed by the idea of a bucket list, I love and accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed by the idea of a bucket list, I love and accept myself. And then we're going to move to that collarbone, and you're going to tap, and the first thing we do is break it down. And so the breaking it down is getting out any negative emotions, so you're not locking it in, you're just processing it through. I don't know if I can do a bucket list. There's so much against me. I have debt. We're in a pandemic. Life feels a little chaotic. I'm afraid to trust. Sometimes I'm afraid to try. I'm afraid to think big. All these feelings are completely normal. I love, honor, and accept myself. And now we're doing the bridge, which is statements that you believe, and that will get us into our new belief statements here in a minute. I have accomplished a lot already. I've done some pretty cool things. I had forgotten. I've really done a lot in my life. There's so much to appreciate. Now we're going to lock in new beliefs, and we're going to do this on a cellular and DNA level. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating my bucket list. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating my dreams. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating inspiration. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating passion. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating my receiving channels. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating my imagination. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating faith. On a cellular and DNA level, I'm activating joy. I am creating my bucket list. I'm doing my bucket list. I'm enjoying my bucket list. I am inspired. I am full of passion. I'm a big thinker. I'm open to receiving. I'm ready for adventure. I'm ready for my good coming to me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything I touch prospers and succeeds. All is well. And so it is. And go ahead and take a nice deep breath in and out. And I see, let's see, I think Bonnie, hello. Hello, Bonnie.
Hello, hello, hello. Well, that's got
How are you?
I'm good now. Thank you. Maybe I should have started with tapping. You got me going. Well, first, happy birthday. So I have to say that.
Thank you. Oh,
thank you. When I saw your training, I said, okay, when did I ever do one? And the only thing I can remember is probably about 10 years ago when we started together that I put it in some notebook, which, of course, I don't know where it is now. But I did go and I wrote up about 50 things. I called it, let's say, goals and dream list. So I guess it's pretty close to a bucket list. And I was reading these things. So I just wanted to share with you.
I would love it.
So
please do.
That I had on there. Yeah. So I said retire and feel peace within. And that's pretty ironic because that's how I feel like I am as I'm trading the market. Financial freedom. I said to be a grandma, making a beautiful wedding for my daughter, releasing weight naturally, cruising with my friends and family all together, making 20% of my money, a 4-day work week, 3 trips to Aruba. I haven't opened this, so it was like I made it, and I reviewed it now, so it was really pretty interesting. 30K in 1 month in my coaching business, selling 1,000 of my e-courses, an organized business plan, a trip to Spain, Hawaii, and Israel, healthy legs to walk pain-free. So it was just pretty exciting to, hear what you were talking about and then open this back up.
Wow.
Because some of the things like this, it fits with, some of your examples of fun and travel, and because I guess I was really pretty blank when I even wrote any of this down. So it was kind of fun. So I want to just thank you because now I'll go through and appreciate it even more. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Bonnie. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah. Isn't that cool? It's cool to have that experience to open something up or, like to look at a vision board and realize, gosh, I've done almost all these things. And you have to kind of wonder, would you have done them if you never wrote them down? So look at the bucket list as a catalyst for your next version of you or your next adventure or all of those, right? So thank you so much. I'm just going to check the Q&A box one more time. Kathy's saying on her list, more speaking. Very cool. Speaking on tools for anxiety and emotional empowerment, and you're so good at that, and I think doing more of it is going to not only bring you joy, but a whole bunch of other people, thousands, millions of people. So I'm glad that's on your list, and thank you for sharing that. All right, so enjoy revisiting or creating for the first time your bucket list, and I would love to hear your comments over email or if you're on Instant Teleseminar, typing in the Q&A box or on the Facebook group. Love to hear your comments. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to everybody soon. Take care. I love you. Bye-bye.
This episode is sponsored by the Living Your Vision course for creating your optimal life. This course is for creating and fulfilling your dream. Make your dreams your reality instead of a someday idea. Set your vision for your life in motion. Move from trying to be just a little bit better and shift to deliberately creating the life you want at the level you want. Most people are not purposely thinking small. They just have never considered or allowed themselves to think bigger or even on an epic level. Even big thinkers, perhaps you're one of them, often say, I just don't have time to devote to developing a detailed vision of how I want my life to be. What's stopping you from creating your vision the way you really want it? What if you let go of anything that is stopping or blocking you? What if you stepped into your creative zone and designed a compelling vision that drove all of your daily habits and decisions? You can check out the Living Your Vision course at sherikhoff.com. That's SherikayEHoff.com. And you'll want to go to the coaching and courses tab.